Our close community is no stranger to crime and drugs. We have more good days than bad days, but with each violent act or accidental death, we're reminded how precious life is and how much we need a strong law enforcement presence. Sheriff Jackie Rogers, a native of Lenoir County, has a long-standing dedication to law enforcement and community service. A South Lenoir alumni, Sheriff Rogers began his career with the Kinston Police Department and retired as a North Carolina State Highway Patrolman. A year into his tenure, our community was rocked by the news of the accidental shooting and the accidental death of a 3-year-old. This was the second incident involving young children and guns within the last 3 weeks. Firearms are the leading cause of death among teenagers and youth in not just the United States, but also in North Carolina. What can be done to protect our children? Are they safe in our schools? Is the phrase gun safety an oxymoron? In this exclusive interview, Sheriff Rogers discusses gun safety, he discusses mental health, the Second Amendment. We also talk about school shootings and even his relationship with the Kinston Police Department. So Sheriff, you were sworn in on December 5th, 2022. What are you most proud of in your year of service with your office?
I'm proud of the personnel we've gained throughout the year on the sheriff's side. We went from approximately 20 openings to we're full, and we've got 3 or 4 people now that's waiting to get a job with us on the sheriff's side.
And recently, you shared with the media that you were full, and you were talking about that, but you're also talking about the jail, the detention officers there. Why do you think your office is having such a good, rate of filling your vacancies within your law enforcement in a time that it seems it's to be a very difficult? I mean, are you paying people more, or is it a culture? What do you think is different about Lenoir County Sheriff's Department?
I think it's a problem all over the state with trying to fill vacancies on the law enforcement. We've been very fortunate. I think we've established something here in law enforcement that a lot of places don't have. We're very transparent. We support our staff, and we expect the deputies to go out there and do their job. Mm-hmm. We don't have any limitations on how many vehicles they stop or anything like that. They go out there and do their job, and that's what I expect. That's what I do. That's what I've always done, and that's what I expect them to do.
Lenoir County's largest municipality, Kinston, has its own law enforcement officers. I mean, the Kinston Police Department has been around for a long time. What is your relationship like with the Kinston Police Department, and does the Lenoir County Sheriff's Office, do you all hold like joint exercises or joint training with your officers here at KPD?
All the time. Keith and I talk on a weekly basis. We share information. We share tactical situations. I use his SRT team when our SRT team's called out, vice versa. He does the same thing. We communicate.
And SRT was?
Special Response Team.
Okay.
He calls his SWAT. I call mine SRT, which is Special Response Team. Mm-hmm. But we share a lot of information. There's nothing, we had an incident this morning that we share some information, and then the police department was able to take the guy in custody. But every function we have, we share it. Mm-hmm.
What you once described the sheriff's office as being very reactive in nature, and that you wanted your sheriff's office to be more proactive in nature. How do you see the agency today a year into your service?
We're extremely proactive. We're getting ahead of things. You can see it just in the morale, but law enforcement officers want to go out there and do their job. They don't want to be restricted to different things of not being proactive. They want to go out there and do their job, and that's what I expect. I think the morale's the highest it's ever been, and I will never be a fan of being reactive. Things are happening in our world, in our county, and I expect that I want to be proactive of accomplish the missions that we set out to do.
Now, the Second Amendment, as part of the Bill of Rights, states a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. What's your philosophy regarding the Second Amendment?
I'm a full supporter of the Second Amendment. I think that the more people with firearms, the good people with firearms are, to protect their, their families and their home, I'm supportive. What I'm not supportive of is gun owners that are not responsible enough to secure their firearms from children, secure their firearms inside their vehicles. I think the statistical data will tell you that, as far as the shootings in cities and counties, is that most of these firearms are coming from unlocked vehicles that juveniles are stealing and committing crimes with.
Luckily, Lenoir County has actually been immune to mass school shootings. It's something that we hear often from time to time in our news around the nation. In fact, when they do happen, we locally tend to buckle down just a little bit more for a short period of time. Do you feel like your office is prepared for such a tragedy? And so how do you prepare for something like that?
You train for it. I think we are prepared. I think we get in situations, and you got to mentally prepare for that situation. Them situations are a lot different than any other situations. You go to a home where you got an active shooter in a home, they're secured in the home, you handle that a different situation. You get the special response team to go out there and handle the situation. In a school shooting, the first law enforcement officers on the scene has got to eliminate the threat, because as longer it takes you to eliminate that threat, more children are getting shot and things like that. And mentality-wise, mentally, a law enforcement officer's got to prepare for that. They've got to go in there and take care of the situation.
Think about the mental state of law enforcement officer. What about the mental state of people who own guns or fire guns? I mean, how much should mental health play a role in, say, someone's ability to even acquire a gun in the first place?
Huge. Mental health I think we're in a mental health crisis right here in our own county. It plays a major role in possession or purchasing firearms. Obviously, if you got a mental health issue, you don't need to own a firearm.
Well, since January 1st this year, there have been at least 2 incidents that we're aware of where minors had access to a firearm. I mean, one resulted in injury, another in a death. How are young people able to acquire loaded firearms so easily? And I don't mean like these teenagers are breaking in cars. I mean like our youth, our elementary and pre-K type students. How are they able to acquire these firearms so easily?
I think it's just the gun owners don't take the responsibility as to store their firearm safely. I think being a lawful gun owner, we have responsibilities, and one of those responsibilities is storing our firearms safely, especially when you got small kids. I was a trooper for many years, and it was a great point to me to store my firearms safely when I got off work. And I've got several firearms. But my firearm, when I get off work, I put it in a certain location that the kids don't have access to, but I can readily assess it. I believe that, some people unload their guns and keep their ammunition different than their firearms. There's in an emergency situation at home, there's no way to protect yourself. You can keep your firearm in a safe location and readily available to you in case you need it, and keep it out of reach of children.
Is gun safety an oxymoron? I mean, can guns actually be safe?
Yes. I think it's the owner's responsibility to make it safe and to keep a safe environment with his home. I think that's a major role into being gun owners. Mm-hmm. And I believe that if you have a right to own a firearm, well, you should own a firearm, but you have them responsibilities of securing the firearm also.
All right. Let's talk about your office in education in the school system and how it relates to youth. Will your office work with the school system, so to speak, to educate youth on the seriousness of firearms, or what are you doing in that area to educate the youth of our community?
Absolutely. I will work with the school system, especially the elementary school kids. I think they should know a toy gun from a real gun. I think they should know that a real gun can kill you. A real gun can kill someone else. You got all these games that you play that kids are into, and there's no I don't know the correct words, but there's no way. They see it on the stage and it's over. When the game's over, it's over and everything's fine. In the real life, it don't work that way. It works where a gun can kill you and it can be life changing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in this thinking of life changing. I mean, there's been some youth in our community that have died from gun violence as well as from some mental health challenges. What is it that we as law-abiding citizens can do to help our youth, whether it's with access to guns or with their mental health? What can we do?
You can talk to kids. You can go out and talk to kids about the way to handle guns and to store guns and to be a lawful gun owner, and to be if you're a gun owner or you in possession of a gun, show them a way that to secure the gun or shoot the gun and to not injure or kill someone.
Mm-hmm. Now, are there courses or classes that gun owners can take, or someone who wants to own a gun can take to learn the proper ways to handle a gun, store a gun, and fire a gun?
Absolutely. You can go on the internet right now and Google gun safety, and there are several videos that go through gun safety and tips and rules and regulations of guns. Being an owner and possessor of a firearm, it would teach you. That's easy. Mm-hmm. You go right on the internet on your phone or your computer, and it shows you all the videos and everything.
Mm-hmm. Now, in the last case, we're thinking about the youth and access to guns. That this child was 3. How can an accidental shooting like this be prevented?
Putting your firearms away, putting your firearms in a safe location. If you know you got a child that is walking around the house and everything, you shouldn't have that gun in where he can have accessibility to it. Mm-hmm. He shouldn't be able to go grab it and look at it or anything. He shouldn't have access to it, period. It's an accident. It's a tragic accident, and I never want to see it again. And if educating people of proper storage of guns, then I'm all in. I will talk every day about it. Beautiful boy. It was tragic. It was tragic for the family and for my staff. Them incidents like that affect you for the rest of your life, because you always remember things like that. Everybody's got kids. Most of my deputies has got kids or have siblings, and it hits home with us.
Do you feel some sense of responsibility when it comes to a child like this accidentally shooting themselves?
Well, you try to get ahead of it. You try to think of things that could have been done to prevent it. What could we have done different? What can we, and it's the gun owners or the parents' responsibility to, to get that knowledge when they have a gun in the house. But it's tragic. It's a sad situation. And so.
Is there anything else you'd like to add as it relates to how we as a society or community of Lenore County and how your office can assist us in promoting gun safety and having access to these guns?
I believe we should be more public about it. I think the sheriff's office should be more public and have routine reminders of what gun laws are, how storage of firearms should be, and I want to be very proactive at that.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate you being here today.
Yes, sir.